All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see everybody tonight. Should be a fun one. If you were watching the stream earlier this week, you'll know we talked about possibly doing a Kitbash stream. There was a resounding yes from everyone in terms of trying to tackle that. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So we'll get into that here in just a minute. First off, nice to see everybody. Hasn't been any Star Citizen news past the stuff we talked about the other day, which obviously we went through some of those new leaks that came out in the form of ship page links on the RSI website for the Gray's Market Shiv, the Asperia Stinger, and of course the straight to flyable Anvil Paladin and RSI Perseus, probably for IAE. But nice to see everybody. It is Thursday night. Obviously, this is the time we usually try to do weekly StarJump Weekly, which we're going to probably rebrand a bit. But in lieu of that, I wanted to do another episode of Shipyard this week with some kit bashing and just have a little fun. Our good buddy VMXEO, who is in chat as we speak. Hello, VM. Did a fun, if you're over in the StarJump Discord and you're looking in, I think the StarJump Creative channel, there was image he posted of like a hip bash he did for the Apollo and sort of took parts of the Constellation and parts of the Apollo, kind of smushed them together. And I thought, you know what? That's an exercise I want to do as well. So I thought to myself, we will... Oh, one second, everybody. We will do that. We'll do a kit bash very similar and see how it turns out. As you all know, with kit bashes, it could look great. It could look terrible. Sometimes hard to know until you just get in there and start moving pieces around. But we're going to see what we come up with. That's all I can really promise you. We'll have a good time while we're doing it and talk a little bit of Star System while we do it. However, there's one thing I did want to cover for some of you in chat. I don't know if any of you in chat have RSVP'd for the StarJump virtual watch party for CitizenCon, but I wanted to give everyone a little bit of a heads up. The plans for that may change a little bit, and this is due to a few different factors that are popping up. Some of them are logistical and scheduling factors. Some of them are just to have a better event, reasoning. So I haven't made any firm decisions on that yet, but what I think may happen, so just, stay tuned to StarJump channels for more news on this, but what may happen is instead of it being a virtual watch party for CitizenCon, which is a little weird because you're not going to want to talk over it. You're going to want to watch it. What I'm thinking about doing is actually moving it to the next day, so Sunday, and calling it something a little bit different, like calling it something like StarJump CitizenCon Celebration or something like that, where we've all already watched CitizenCon. We can get in there. We can all talk, roundtable, all of you. We can converse. We'll do a few events, maybe a few giveaways, stuff like that. I'm still thinking about it, but it'd be a better way to talk and chat and discuss what was revealed at the show. Again, I may keep it the same. I may keep it still as a virtual watch party. I'm weighing some options, so just bear with me. Those of you probably remember just recently. When I was referring to this event, I had said to, stay tuned for changes because I didn't quite know what the event was. I just wanted to block out something that we could all do together. Balrogs, I think you're nailing it. It's essentially, it might be a better idea to sort of debrief it. You know what I mean? Will give us time to think about it a little bit, because when you watch CitizenCon, there's always that initial excitement about pretty much anything they show, right? They could show paint drying on the wall and we're all going to be super hyped about it. But giving us that extra day, I think allows us to sort of, think about pros and cons and all that. The other logistical factor there too is my daughter's birthday is that day. It's already going to be a very, very busy day for me. The day of CitizenCon, I mean, the 11th. So it's already going to be a very busy day for me, and just logistically, it might work better doing that. I do plan on having some giveaways for that virtual whatever it's going to be. So those of you that are RSVPing and coming, there'll be stuff to win. And we may have some cool activities and stuff. I got some ideas. So bear with me. I do appreciate all y'all's patience around that. And, more info. Okay, so tonight, as I said before, we're going to do some kit bashing. We got a good crowd already forming. My YouTube crowd coming in strong, 86 viewers watching already. And on the Twitch side of things, it is slowly building here. Appreciate everyone over on Twitch and everyone over on YouTube for hanging out tonight and seeing what kind of shenanigans we can get into. So what I'm going to do is I am going to switch over some windows. Dillman, nice to hear that. Happy birthday. Okay, bringing over my chat windows here. Bear with me, everybody. Okay, just getting my windows set up. BMXEO says yes, but paint drying on the wall functionality won't come out until 2028. Yes, exactly. All right, got my windows set up. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get into it here. Well, at least I think we are, as I'm slowly moving around windows. Okay. Remember, if you have a question that is pertinent to what we're doing or related to Star Citizenships, this is Shipyard, feel free to put it in brackets. Artorius will grab that and post it in our question chat over here. In addition to that, I'm going to try to climb that referral ladder, everybody. I think I'm going to try to climb that referral ladder. So don't forget, if you know anyone who's interested in starting their journey into Star Citizen, and you are not having them use your referral code, because by all means make sure they do that. Feel free to send them mine. Okay, here we go. We're going to get into this, which means I need to move some windows around. So first things first, let's go ahead and switch over to our software we're going to be working in today, which is Cinema 4D. All right, next thing we got to do is open up some files. And I've got two constellations prepped because I figured we might pull stuff from both of them. And I also have the Apollo prepped, the RSI Meteor prepped. Shout out to VMXEO for the help on those models, by the way. And then we can also pull parts and pieces off any other ship that we need. Okay, so that's how we'll approach it, and we'll see what comes. All right. So first things first. Oh, real quick, I did want to focus primarily on the Connie Phoenix. I've heard a lot of people talking about how the Apollo would make a good Phoenix variant. So we're going to start with the Constellation Phoenix as our sort of ship we're working on. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We see that here. Again, familiarize yourself with the Constellation Phoenix here. It uses obviously the original Constellation model here. It's got this kind of bulbous back end here, which is weird to say, with the windows here that I've just got gloss black, skylight, all that kind of stuff. We're going to start from this. We're going to utilize parts and pieces from the Apollo, parts and pieces from the Meteor, and see what we come up with. We'll see. Destroy, nice to see you. Nice to see you. All right, let's open up some parts and pieces. We're going to open up the Apollo here, because I'm sure we're going to be utilizing a lot off of the Apollo. We are going to also grab the RSI Meteor. I don't have this one all marked up for textures, but that's okay. Still has a lot of the palm decal elements on it, which I usually delete for these kit bashes because they kind of get in the way. So, all right. So the first thing we're going to do, chat, is we're going to do some sort of organization. And this can be a little bit messy, just depending on how the ships are put together. These are like flight models, but I don't have interiors. We're not going to focus on interiors tonight. If you look, there's no interior in this except for a few elements like the escape pod beds, which, by the way, if you've ever wondered how they're escape pods, you can see how they connect with this piece up here. And this piece is essentially this door. That is the escape pod cover. So if you ever wondered how the beds act as escape pods, that is how. But anyway, we're going to kind of sort of categorize parts and pieces we may need and kind of group those in a way that are that's easy to manipulate. Okay. By the way, everyone, we do have a poll up on Twitch, I believe. The poll there is which base ship should dominate this hybrid design. Now, remember, we're leaning into the Connie Phoenix is our sort of ship we're creating, but should it pull more from the Apollo? Should it pull more from that, that design language? Should it pull more from our original Constellation hull, but just with some updates? Should it be a 50-50 mix of the two? Get in on that poll. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start grouping some parts and pieces, because if you look over here, everything's just thrown in here. There's a lot of parts and pieces to these ships sometimes, and it can be a little bit of a mess. One of the first things I like to do is just sort of pull parts and pieces to see what things are. So this is just our escape beds. We don't need that. This is the elevator for the bottom door, which is under here, which we want to keep. We'll keep that. This is the hard point for the airlock neck door. We'll keep that. Let's see here, nose of the ship. Okay, so it's this front section. That's actually good to know. That's already grouped up for us, which is kind of nice. Let's see here. Hey, Guardians in chat. Hope you're well. VG, nice to see you as well. STARJUMP Grim, happy B-Day, mate. Is it my birthday today? Or is it your birthday, VG? I'm not sure. I want to look at these engines too. 90s, hello, hope you're well, hope you're well. We're going to dip into the body section here. Again, what we're looking for is all the parts and pieces to see how they're grouped, see if they're grouped in a way where I can pull and kitbash them easily, which the Connie actually looks pretty good in terms of its grouping. Because sometimes like one of these engines here could be split into like a whole bunch of different parts and pieces. So knowing that they're grouped up kind of like this is kind of nice. So I'm actually going to pull these engines here out. So let's put these above the body. Let's grab our bottom engine nacelles, pull them out of the body so we can collapse the body. That way I can turn off all the engines if I want. Get a sense of what we're looking at. We obviously have the Merlin docking collar back here. The doors are open on it. We may have to manually close those just because it's not rigged up. It's not my birthday today, by the way, everybody, but I wish it was. I wish it was. Yeah, we're gonna look into that. We're gonna look into that. Okay, so I think this is grouped pretty well. I honestly think one of the primary things I'm gonna want to keep, and actually, you know what? Let's do some testing here real quick. So if I turn off the nose, okay, turn off the neck, and then I turn off the engine nacelles, we're left with the body, which is nice. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me, there it is. I knew that was coming. I feel much better now. One thing I also want to sort of ungroup is the rear end. So the Merlin docking collar. I want to get rid of that, or not get rid of it, but group it properly. So it does look like they have that grouped here as the tail. So we'll pull the tail out. Let me turn that off. Okay. So that gives us our body structure here. This is important because since we're making a Phoenix, I may want to utilize this. Hudson, nice to see you. Bless you as well. Yeah, so we may want to keep this. I'm not 100% sure. It does have this this bottom on it here for the Ursa. That's another thing I'm not sure if we're going to keep. So, okay, so yeah, we may not keep that. What is this? Stand by, everybody. Sometimes I have to find parts and pieces that are being a little weird. Okay. Yeah, I feel like if we're doing a Connie Phoenix, we need to have this part right here, right? but we may reshape it. We may reshape it a bit. Okay, so we have this, we have all of our parts and pieces, and we'll turn those back on. Okay, that's good. We're going to save that. We're going to go over to our Apollo. Let's take a look at that. I have a feeling this one is not grouped properly at all. So to do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to start with the engines first. And again, you can see all the stuff I'm scrolling through here. It's just a lot sometimes. Okay, so we do have a geotail left and geotail right. I'm assuming that is the left and right nacelles. Yep, there is that, and that is that. Okay, so perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab these. We're going to bring them up. I'm going to bring these to the top of the stack. I'm actually going to rename these as well. So this is going to be Apollo tail left, and this one will be Apollo tail right. Okay, so let's turn those off. See what we're working with here. We now have this part of the Apollo, which includes the rear entry. I am missing a piece here, which is kind of interesting. All right, let's start finding other pieces to this ship here to start doing some more grouping. So we do have a nose group. Let's look at what the nose group is. Okay, so the nose group contains that and a couple of these lights, which are probably connected to the same element. So we're going to chop that, paste it, scroll up, bring that down. This will be Apollo nose. Okay. And what else do we have here? So let's hang on to some of these parts and pieces. Again, this can get pretty messy, everyone. This can get pretty messy, so bear with me. Okay, so let's go in here. We should have a tail section. So we do have body rear. Okay, so that's a big piece. And we have, what is this piece? I want to find this piece. Sometimes I like to connect things that are, okay, so this is the hard point scanner. So we're going to X that, paste it, and then we're going to take the rear, which is here, X and V, and we're going to put the scanner in with this element. Bring this down. We're going to call this the Apollo rear. Okay. Bear with me, everybody. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. Okay. All right, so Apollo rear, we'll turn that off for a second. See what we're left with. You can see we got a few pieces here that are like internal damage things. Just for optimization standpoint, I'm going to go ahead and clean some of that up. Got some errant stuff, so let's kill that. Okay, so now we have sort of the body section of the Apollo. I have a feeling these sides here are separated, so let's look at that. So yeah, we have geo body left, which is that, with a lot of dependencies missing. So we're gonna grab that here in just a second. So the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna take body left and body right. We're gonna cut those out, paste them up top. Again, this is a little bit messy, but when we're dealing with a model like this, we sometimes gotta make lemonade here, people. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab all this stuff. No, that's not what we want. We're gonna grab all of this. This is connected to something. Okay, so it's just connected to that. Okay. All right, that's fine. That's fine. We can work with that. Okay, so you'll find sometimes that certain things are connected to other parts and pieces. You just kind of got to work around it. Again, kit bashing is messy.
Hey, Graham.
Yes.
The Twitch people have spoken, and they said that they want an equal mix of the ships.
Okay, equal mix. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. The people have spoken. I have noticed stuff like this happens too, where things switch around and I just have to sort of flip them. So bear with me. Fixing a few little issues here, everyone. Stand by. I think that looks mostly correct. Let me just check here, everybody. Don't worry, we'll be getting to kit bashing pretty soon. Thank you for that follow, Pack. Hope you're well. Thank you very, very much. Did my follow alert even run? Who knows? People have spoken indeed. Okay, so there's our Apollo. All right, we have our Phoenix. So that's looking good. We got some of that stuff grouped. So we're going to start with those two, and then anything that we pull, whether it's from the Meteor, other RSI ships, the Polaris, or anything else you can think of, Zeus, maybe even. I don't know if I have the Zeus models though. Yeah, VM, I should get the Zeus models from you sometime soon. Doesn't have to be right now, just sometime soon. But we'll pull what we can. We'll pull what we can, everybody, and create something. So the first thing I want to look at with the Connie Phoenix, we're talking about an equal blend of both. Rabbit saying the Bengal engines. we'll put the Bengal engines on it at scale so that they're just absolutely huge. The first thing we have to identify with the Connie is what makes the Connie, and so essentially asking ourselves what we want to keep and what we're okay with kind of losing, right? Actually, what I'm going to do real quick here before we get too far down the road is I'm going to just add a linear light setup to this. Only to give myself a little bit of something to sort of play off of. We're going to scale this up quite a bit too. Okay, just to give ourselves something to play off of. Ambient occlusion, aliasing best. We're going to put that down to 4%. So that when we render it, it's at least got just kind of a base light setup on it. It's not aiming to be perfect or anything, but something that will at least look halfway decent. Sandgroper says, is it really a Connie without the struts? Well, that's probably the number one question. I think we have to change the bridge though, right? We have to change the bridge. And here's the thing. What I want to do, everyone, is I want to try to not change the overall scale of the parts and pieces. I am going to do that a little bit, but I want to try to avoid that, as much as I can. I'm going to switch over to my left monitor real quick here, and bring up something that's good to see. So we're going to pull up the Phoenix, and we're going to pull up the Apollo medevac here. And I'm going to go to a top-down view for both of these ships. Okay, we'll hide the ship labels for now. And if you see here, for example, the bridge section on the Apollo versus the bridge section on the Connie, there is a massive difference here. So, for example, if we want to bring over the bridge from the Apollo and bring that into the Connie, it's not just shrinking it down, because we're going to try to use it at scale. But by doing that, it's probably going to force the Constellation to grow. Now, I don't know about you, but I could see a Connie rework growing the ship a bit. I don't know to what scale, but I could see the Connie growing a little bit. I think the Connie is currently, actually, let's take a look. The Connie is currently 61 meters. I think the Connie could technically grow to like Starlancer size. What do you all think in chat? Hey, New Soul sounds in chat. Everyone give New Soul a little bit of salute. See Lemming hanging out in chat as well. Citizen Ninja, all the people hanging out tonight. Appreciate you all coming by. So when Spectre says, when CIG going to hire you, fam? They got good talent there already. They don't need me. But here's something to consider. So if Steve-O, thank you for that follow. Appreciate you. Loved your work on Jackass. If when you're thinking about the classes of ships that something can grow to, I could easily see the Connie leaning a little bit more heavily into that ship class size that hovers around, like Ave says in chat there, that 600i, or even better, the Starlancer series from MISC. The Starlancer series coming in around 83 meters. That would mean the ship growing, by about 20 some odd meters. Excuse me, everybody. Hey, it's Pops in Space. Pops, I hope you're well, man. Nice to see you. It was awesome meeting you at Quantum Vegas. So that being said, I think the Constellation could grow a bit. So let's actually add that. So let's use a Star Lancer. Actually, how big is a 600i? 600i is 92 meters. From our side, we do have the Galaxy that comes in at like 124. So I think we need to be somewhere between 60 and 124, which would put us at about 90 or 80 meters. Okay, so if we do a 600i, and let's say we do a Star Lancer, right? Let's select all, let's hide ship labels, go top down. That would put, here's 80, here's another size. That would allow us to grow our Connie up by a decent amount. We could grow it to somewhere in, I think even a little bit more to compete with the Star Lancer. It could grow, I think, up to about that scale there. Okay. Which would be, I think, a nice complement to the Apollo in terms of borrowing those parts and pieces, right? And that's not without precedent, by the way. Excuse me, everybody. I sneezed earlier and it's completely destroyed my sinuses. That's not without precedent. I mean, if you look at any of the other ships that have gone through like big reworks like that, so like the Cuddy Black is one I think of, the Hornets, they always grew, you know what I mean, to accommodate things. So we might kind of go with that line of thinking. Okay. So with that, that's literally the very first thing we're going to do. Okay. That's the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to grow this ship. Okay. So how do we do that? Rabbit says Zeus is 30 to 40 meters. I think the Zeus is 48 meters long. Yeah. I think the Zeus is 48 meters long. So again, we have some room there for the Connie to grow. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put a yardstick in here. Okay. Here's our yardstick. And I'm going to switch us to meters. So we're going to go into preferences, units of measurement, and we're going to switch ourselves from centimeters, which is standard for Cinema 4D. And we're going to go to meters, which is what Star Citizen generally uses, right, in terms of its parlance. So what we're going to do is we're going to stretch out our yardstick. If you I've never seen me do this before. We're going to stretch out our yardstick and we're going to put it at around the 86 meter mark. So kind of in between 600i and Star Lancer. Okay. So you can see that is our new measuring stick, which is currently longer than our Connie, which is great, which is good. So then what we're going to do is, so this yardstick now is 86 meters long. So what we're going to do is switch to a top view, which is right here. And there's our measuring stick. You can see the rectangle there, and there's our Connie. We're going to go ahead and stretch that Connie up. We're gonna give it a little bit of a boost in its scale. Okay, let's see. All right, that's about it. So it means we got to grow by 100 or 27% to 127.74. We're going to round that up to 128 on the scale metric, which gives us an upscaled Connie that is now sitting at 86 meters long, according to our yardstick, which you can see our yardstick here up next to our Connie. Fits perfectly. Psycho Maniac just rated the channel with 1 viewer. Thank you very much, Psycho, for coming on over here and hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. Salute to you. I appreciate that very much. Okay, here we go. We're just doing some kit bashing here. You know, Spectre says, isn't the Connie CR's favorite ship? Any rework would be his to do, I think. Well, he definitely said that from everything I've heard. However, that was a long time ago. Who knows? There could be a ship he likes a lot more now. So, all right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to start taking parts and pieces. Now, where should we start? Where do you all think we should start? Sometimes I like to either start on the bridge section or with engines. What do you all think? Voice it out in chat. But I think we maybe should start with engines, because the bridge I think is going to be a bigger problem to solve with the Connie. And we may get in the weeds on that a little bit. Yeah, I agree, Quinn. The bridge is definitely the defining shape of the Connie. We could start there. I don't mind starting there. Let's look at our parts and pieces here. So we do have the nose. Within the nose section, Let's turn off the nose. So the nose does include quite a bit of elements. One of the elements is these front wings, these left and right wings. I'll lift these up. I feel like these are kind of defining shapes of the Connie as well. They're like one of the things that it gives the ship its silhouette. So we're actually going to see if we can't retain those. Okay, we're going to see if we can't retain those. So for the moment, let's turn our nose off just for the moment. One of the other limiting factors of the Connie is that because of its nose being this size, we're actually going to remove this. Because of the Connie having a nose that's narrow like this, it actually forces them to go into this sort of neck section of the ship, which they actually call the neck, which actually like shrinks down in size. So it actually just kind of gets smaller and funnels people through here, a little bit like a choke point. One of the first things I want to do is just test something. And this is something I do with ships like this sometimes where I'm doing kit bashing. I'm going to grab this entire front section. Okay, so that's the whole section that shrinks down, the nose, neck, and the side wings. We're going to put this in a null. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag my null over. A null is just an invisible reference point. We're going to grab all this, throw in the null, and I want to scale this up to where this neck part flows seamlessly into this body section. I just want to see what that looks like. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to switch us back to centimeters. Okay. All right. Okay, here. Let's go up to 9. Let's go to. Okay. Okay. So again, it's kind of a rough way to do it, but that's what we're going to test for the moment. We're going to slide this back just to kind of tuck it for a minute, something like that. Okay, I'm going to turn off the wings for a minute, get a better look at the ship's overall look and feel. I mean, the funny thing is I already feel like it's a little bit more balanced just because of that. So we're going to go with that for a minute. All right, we have to deal with this nose section, right? We just have to. So I'm going to check something here. I'm going to check what all is connected to the nose. Okay, interesting. The nose is modeled a little bit weird. Sandgroper says, try and keep the VTOL with all the landing surfaces at the back. Those front VTOLs become more important for the bigger Connie. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think those are located in the right and left front wing. These over here. So we'll try to retain those. So, all right, here's the first thing we're going to do. We're just going to get a little medieval with it and just go for broke here. We're going to grab the body. Actually, let me look here. What parts and pieces do we have? Okay, so we have the body section. We have the Apollo nose. Okay, we're going to grab the nose for a minute. I want to see what the scale of this is like against the Constellation. I think it's still going to be really big. Well, actually, no, not as big. See, once you scale the Connie up to like that 86 meter mark, look, the bridge is a much more natural fit now. See how that fits now? That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Okay, so we're going to do, it's time to do some kit bashing here, folks. Time to do some kit bashing, okay, which means we're going to start chopping some shit. What do y'all think? Time to start chopping some stuff? Okay, good. I was hoping you would say yes. All right, first thing I'm going to do is duplicate the nose because I'm going to get destructive here. With destructive editing, it means I'm just going to kind of start chopping stuff off. So it's going to get a little, a little wild with this. So I'm going to select the children. I'm going to grab this. Hopefully this does not crash on me. We are going to, we're going to hit save. All right, here we go. And we are going to get to chopping. Okay, bear with me. It's got to calculate. Okay, you know what? I don't want to do it that way. I want to I want to treat my computer with respect. We're going to go into a profile view here. If anyone from CIG is stealth watching and feels like I am doing something sacrilegious, I apologize. This is just for conversation, just for conversation. So we're going to delete that. There is our Connie bridge with our 3 seats. No worries. We're going to kill some of this stuff. Again, we're going to chop it. We're going to chop it, everybody. Okay, we're going to go to point mode and we're going to chop. So again, we're getting destructive here. So that's kind of the point. Okay, so boop, 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 boop. Again, sort of what I'm doing here is almost like sculpting, right? I'm literally just grabbing parts and pieces, chopping them off, clearing the way for new pieces. It doesn't have to be perfect either here because we're not making a real ship, everybody. So obviously, if CIG was to do anything like this, any sort of kit bashing, they would be doing it literally just to explore a ship's body language, its overall shape, you know, and aesthetics. This is, of course, not how you would actually build a ship, but this is more of an exercise. So, okay, so one tricky thing about kit bashing, I will tell you, is you will do stuff sometimes that you think is going to be great, and it turns out like crap. So this whole night could be a bust. Sorry, JJ. Good morning to you. I hope you were well. Hope you were well. Okay, so we've cleared some way here. We've cleared some way. That is a component, by the way, for those of you curious. This little thing right here, that is a component. So we're just going to delete that. We're going to delete that. Another component. Okay, we're going to leave our seats there for the moment. Still pretty messy chop out, but that's okay. I'm not necessarily trying to be super super clean with this. Just kind of grabbing pieces that I think could cause an issue and getting rid of those. I think this is mostly okay here. We're going to go with that. Okay, so we've chopped off the front of this ship. Okay, so there we go. We have our Connie chopped off. We're going to turn back our Apollo nose on here for a second. Okay, let's see what we got here. Now there's going to be all kinds of geometry not working here, so just bear with me, everybody. Bear with me. Okay, I think I see what we need to do. We are going to scale this Apollo bridge up on the vertical just a little bit, and you can see me stretching that just a tad. Don't worry about the guns. We're going to replace all that. Okay, there we go. I'm looking at what is problematic on this. I'm seeing a few areas. I'm going to bring that down a little bit, which means we've got to build this up just a little bit. Okay.
So
yep, go ahead.
Boss man, while you're destroying things,
Yes.
Rabbit had a good question when you were talking about weapons here. They
Okay.
were asking, could you add retractable weapons from like a Crusader Hercules to hide the size 5s on the engines? If we decide to keep them, that is.
Say that one more time.
So they wanted to know if we could add retractable weapons from like a Crusader Hercules or some sort of other kind of design rather than just setting size 5s on the engines. If we decide to keep them, that is.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. That's something like that is definitely possible. Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? Stand by. I think I just messed something up, everybody. Yeah, something like that is totally possible. Absolutely. We could maybe explore that. Okay, let's kill that. Okay, so what we've got here now. Let's see here. All right, let's see here. We're gonna get a little while with it. I already think just fattening the neck up on this thing is actually way better than where the Connie currently is at. All right, now I've got to actually chop some pieces off here. So we got to like do some surgery. This will take a minute, everybody. So bear with me. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves for a minute. What I'm going to do here is just kind of go in and remove geometry that is kind of getting in the way of what we're doing here. Okay, this is so essentially what I'm doing, everyone, is I'm just like highlighting the faces I want to kill. This is super, by the way, super guerrilla style here. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab all this up here. You'll see what this is going to do in a second, though. If you're a little confused at what the hell you're looking at. Okay, there we go. Bear with me. Okay, grab that, grab that, grab that. You kind of see what I'm doing. This piece here that was sort of intruding, we're just going to kill it. I need to grab all that. By the way, this is not much different than how I approach, or how I used to approach, concept ships for STARJUMP Fleet Viewer. Now we're not getting any more concept ships in Fleet Viewer, so it's not really an issue. But when it was a thing, this is how I would do it. This is how I would do it. So what we're going through now is jumping into these sections here, deleting geometry that is no longer needed. So we'll just grab all that, killing it, grab it, kill it. All right, so you can kind of see what I'm doing there. I'm removing parts and pieces here that are unneeded. There we go. Just grab that, kill it. Okay. Again, we don't have to be like super clean with it. We're just kind of being rough now, because we're probably going to use geometry to hide some of this stuff too. We're going to use other parts and pieces from some of these ships to hide some of the messy stuff. So don't worry. Okay, so we're just going to start wholesale chopping here, just like we did on the other side. Now, some really good 3D modelers, you know who you are probably out there saying, oh my God, Grim, there's like 50 better ways to do this. And I'm sure there are. However, when I'm kit bashing, I like to be purposefully kind of rough and almost like sculpty, where I'm literally carving pieces off. I learned to do it that way, honestly, working in the film industry. When I was working for a company that did a lot of previs work, we would get in sometimes, because the previs work was like fast and furious. I would get in there sometimes, and because you might have to have something done a day, and I would get in and literally just start chopping stuff up like this. And again, that later went on to benefit things like STARJUMP Fleet Viewer, where, you know, I had to kind of work fast on that project sometimes when new concept ships would drop. Okay, there we go. I think that's decent. Let's kill that. Okay, here's more. Art, if you see any good comments, please feel free to shout them out. I am not able to see the chat at the moment, but if you see anything worthwhile me addressing, though, let me know. Okay, there we go.
You got it, boss.
All right, there we go. Okay, so we're making some progress here. The front is looking interesting. The back is a hot mess, but we're going to get there. Let's just preview this up for a second and see where I'm at. By the way, for those of you, if you do put a question or a comment in chat, it's also very possible I miss it because I'm looking at Cinema 4D. So bear with me. We'll circle back to it. Spectre EH, I did just catch this one though. Spectre says, how do you feel about the no new concepts besides the battlecruiser, of course? I don't love it. I'll be honest with you, I don't love it. I'm one of the people out there that actually would love to see um, uh, concepts, but I would like CIG to sort of keep them under control, meaning if a new concept is revealed, then maybe it's just in concept for like 1 to 2 years max, and then it goes into production. I don't like ships that sit in concept for years and years and years, but I personally would love to see concepts still, because I do think concepts allow the community some level of engagement. You know what I mean? I really do. All right, I got some intersecting geometry here, everyone. Bear with me a second. I'm trying to find what this geometry is. Oh, no, it's not that. Some of you may be going, what is he doing? It's something I can see that I'm trying to fix. No, that's not it. Sometimes these ships have all kinds of like hidden gem. Oh, there it is. I see it. I see it. I see it. Yep, that fixed it. Okay, cool. All right, so we have the front end of our big fat Connie. We're gonna regroup back to that though. Question from Dillman: will the Connie get wee woo lights? No, I don't think so, because this is the Phoenix, not the. It's not any sort of medical thing. So we got some rough geometry there, though. We're gonna try to cover up this section, though. I think we're gonna see if we can't. See if we can't solve this problem. Just seeing what all this geometry is connected to. Okay, let's swing back over to our Apollo. So we took the bridge. I think we may need to grab these body left and body right pieces. Actually, you know what? No, let's don't go that far yet, because I don't want to just wholesale borrow Apollo pieces right from the get-go, because I think we're going to borrow the engines from the Connie, or sorry, from the Apollo. So I want to try to use more of the Connie pieces for the bridge. So we're actually going to bring up our left wing here, and we're going to actually going to scale it down. We're going to scale it back down to 100, because we had scaled it up along with the rest of the nose. So we're going to scale it back down, and we're going to reposition it and see how this works. Again, people, I do have intersecting pieces here. That is on purpose. We're going to tuck those in a little bit, though. We're going to make them a little bit more flush to the ship. Wonder if I covered up that geometry there and made it like a top piece like that. That could be kind of interesting. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know if I like that. Sometimes with kit bashing, by the way, you're just moving pieces around, seeing what you can get. You're looking at overall ship silhouette. That's what you're trying to like kind of figure out. Okay. All right, we're going to circle back to that because. Okay, let's scale that back up. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. I'm not sure if those are working yet. I got something I need to clean up first over here, though. One thing I do know I want to do is let's solve this little thing here. We know that's not going to work, so let's kill that. Let's go to our Apollo medevac. Let's go to the rear section here, specifically the scanning hard point thing. We're going to grab that. We're just going to bring it on over. Why not give the Connie that pretty cool thing? It's got a nice animation to it. So we're going to utilize it. Chipetto, thank you for the follow. Okay, good. My follow commands are, or my follow alerts are working. It's nice to see. Okay, we're going to bring this over here. It's a little too big. That's okay. We're going to scale it down a little bit. We're going to bring this up. And we're going to bring it forward a tad. There we go. Okay, and then we are going to bring a little cylinder in here. We're going to bring that into our scanner. We'll zero that out. Okay, there it is. We'll throw a texture on it just for goodwill at the moment. We're going to make it bigger. Okay, we're going to add more. And we're just going to bring it down. Okay, we'll get back around to dressing that up, but something like that, I think. Okay, something like that. We'll see. Hey, everybody, there's Nonstop Bops. Bops, hope you're well. Had a great chat with you and Execute earlier today. It was a lot of fun. All right, everybody, we're replacing some stuff here. We're gonna get a little nitty gritty here. We're gonna come back to the nose. We're not actually, you know what, we're gonna stay on the nose for a minute because I need to figure out what is going on here. Now this, all right, I need to figure out where this noise is coming from. So, okay, I'm gonna keep that. I'm going to turn off the ship and just leave the Apollo nose for a second. We need to remove some things. So what we're going to do, by the way, everyone, me and VMXEO are going to do at some point a Kitbash kind of challenge where we both Kitbash, and it will be a lot of fun. Don't know when we're going to do it, but we're going to do it soon. As soon as VM gives me the okay, because he's a very busy man, as soon as he gives me the okay, we're going to do it. All right, remove that. Just need to clean up some stuff. You'll see me going back and cleaning up things on parts and pieces as we go along, by the way. It's going to be, like I said, very messy at the beginning here. Very messy at the beginning. Okay, next thing I need to do is figure out what is going on here with these thrusters. So we're going to turn the nose off. We're going to go into the Connie. We're going to turn, we're actually going to bring this down. We're going to turn the Connie off to where we just have the nose. Okay, so now we're just dealing with this piece. Okay, let's figure out what the hell's going on here. So these are the thrusters, but I kind of am not loving them because they're big, they're bulky, they're in my way. We got to figure out something to do with those. And one thing I'm thinking is possibly utilizing this piece, which is part of the Apollo nose. Nope, that's not going to work. Let's grab this left side. We're just gonna go for it. AMD, I am doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. How many times can I say well? But yeah, I hope you're doing very well. All right, we are going to bring this over. We're going to nope. Okay. Bear with me, everybody. Okay, we are going to utilize these side pieces here to see if we can't fix what's going on. We're going to make them a little smaller, for sure. And we are going to bring them up. Okay, that could be problematic though. So let's turn our nose back on, the Apollo nose. Just turn that back on because we need it to sort of complete our bridge area. See, what I need to do is I need to bridge the gap here. I've got some stuff that's not working here. Let's move this forward. See, I also don't want it to take on too much of the Apollo. It's got to be a kind of a careful balance. All right. I just don't love these big thruster elements here. We may have to kill those completely. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure we do. We may have to kill those completely. Okay, so what we might do, because we need to kill those completely, let's burrow down here to just this nose piece first. Okay, so that's what we're gonna have to do. We're just gonna have to start chopping. Here we go, everybody. We're chopping once again. All right, first thing, is I'm going to see if any of this thruster stuff. Okay. The rest of the thruster pieces look like they're connected to the nose mesh. Hey, Citizen of the Verge, hope you are doing well. Citizen, I showed your Apollo thing the other day, actually. Let me see if I have that. I'm not sure if I have it like handy. I may not have it handy, but I did show it the other day, so I thought it was really cool. Okay, so we're gonna do some chopping here, peeps. All right. This is a tricky piece too because it's kind of right. I got to figure out how to do this properly. All right, I'm just gonna have to get messy with it, I think. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to chop. That's what we're gonna do. So let's do this. Let's. Ah, man, this is gonna be messy in hell, but we're gonna do it. Okay, no fear. All right, we're just gonna start grabbing stuff here. Don't want these bottom pieces grabbed. We're gonna clear that. We're gonna clear this. Clear that.
So we've got a lot of ideas coming in, Grim.
All right. What kind of ideas do we have?
People are Guardians kicked out maybe 4 wings, 2 per side to hide that kind of section. Rabbit came out with, we could cover them with like maybe a retractable weapon spot.
Retractable weapon spot, yeah.
And then earlier Erickson asked about doing retropology to eliminate the T-junction.
Yeah. We could possibly do some of that. Yep. Yeah, right now I'm literally just doing large scale chopping, but yes, we can possibly get into some actual modeling too. We'll have to see. We'll also have to see how long string goes, but yeah, all good ideas. All good ideas. I think in the short term, I'm just going to see if I can just cover it, but we'll see. We'll see what we get here. All good suggestions. I would love to get a bunch of modelers together and do like a kit bashing show. Would it be cool if they brought back the next great Starship contest? That'd be really cool. Okay. All right, there we go. We just sort of chopped it off here. It's not clean at all, but that's okay. I actually don't need it to be clean because what I'm going to do is bring in these pieces here to fill that space. That's what we're going to do. And to do that, we're going to get a little bit thicker with it. Okay. What is this piece? Okay, so we got a couple pieces we'll have to fix, but don't worry about that. We're going to create a null, we're going to duplicate this, drag it, and reduce. I could mirror this or instance it. There's a reason I'm not doing that, by the way. There's a reason. Do I think they'll do anything for Halloween? Well, they do have, what is it? Was it the Vara thing? I always forget what it's called. Yeah, that looks pretty interesting on this side. I still got to chop the stuff on the bottom off, but I think that will work. You have this little bit of inset geometry, but I can hide that with something. Yeah, I can definitely hide that. All right, so we're going to come back to that, but I think that's going to work. I think that's going to work for now. Okay. And it does give you a little bit of that winglet, which is kind of cool. But actually, it does take away. I need to look at that. Still problematic. Still problematic. Now, here's what we'll do, everyone. If we find something that we feel like is working in an interesting way and it requires some like custom modeling, we'll do that. We'll definitely do it. Maybe not on tonight's show because that will take a lot of time, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's kill the engines. We're gonna come back to those. Let's also kill the tail. All right. It's left us with this. All right. Next thing. Let's grab. Go to Meteor real quick. I want to look at something with it. I do like the Meteor's back end here. The Meteor's got like a shit ton of instances going on though, which do make it really difficult to work with. I don't know if some of you all can see these duplications, these instances. That's problematic for what I'm doing. Robert Vol says, did I miss the finished Argo cap? STARJUMP. No, we got there with it. We just didn't I just didn't like finalize it with final textures and stuff. I need to get back to that. Still have the file. I do need to get back to that. I got distracted like I typically do. Okay, here. Let's see here. I got 117 watching on YouTube. Thanks everybody. 46 over on Twitch. Appreciate the support tonight. Okay, so let's. We're just going to try some engine stuff here. Again, I don't know what the right way, what the right path is going to be for the engines. It's very possible we borrow from the what you call it, the Polaris. I don't know. We're going to try some stuff here, people. Okay, first rule of kit bashing is to just try some shit. Okay, quick here. Let's get rid of some weird texture sets here. Okay, oops. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, so we got this section here. Actually, you know what? Sometimes I like to just kind of go after it in a bigger way. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the left, right, and rear sections. We're going to Apple C, Apple V, and then we're going to group those. So on this test, I'm not saying I'm going to use it this way, but I'm just going to paste the entire rear end of the Apollo in. Okay, and we're just going to kind of move it in position, get a feel for what that would look like. Might look like shit, so just bear with me. I did not mean to grab the scanner, so we're going to turn that off. Although we might need it because of that giant piece of mesh. Nope, let's bring it back up. We'll have to deal with this thing because it's right in the way, but that's okay. What is with that? Hold on a second, everyone. I got a little bit of a problem. Okay. This ship may not look pretty for a while, so bear with me. Okay, just seeing what the textures are. All right. So the body here technically too wide, so we're going to do some scaling here. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to calculate this across all axes, and we're going to move it up and in. It does not look right. It looks way too bulbous, so that is not the direction we're going to go. That is not going to work. For that to be properly balanced, just from a silhouette standpoint, you would need a lot of like heft to this thing added. It'd need to be something more like that, which is a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. I don't think we're going to go that route, but it's a possibility. Yeah, it doesn't look right because our back end is so big. We need those big nacelles. I think that's kind of key, right? We kind of need those. I think losing those is the wrong, the wrong approach. But that's okay. We're gonna roll with it here for a second. Okay. But what we are gonna do is we're going to take our bottom nacelles here really quick. Let's slide these forward. Okay. And let's, because this is going to be kind of be our landing gear as well. So if we're just to balance the ship a little bit more, because it's got such a huge front end now, we're just going to go to the extreme for a second and see what it would look like. Pushed up. That doesn't look right. I feel like something like that is a better. The bottom nacelles feel good. The top nacelles feel wrong. So we are going to fix that. Let's see. Rabbit says, could you use some of the angular armor from the Perseus? Possibly, but I don't have a good model of the Perseus. Missile pods in those wings. Sure. I mean, there could be missile pods wherever you want, really. We could add weapons after the fact. Finger says a Taurus cargo section. Yeah, we're focusing on the Phoenix for the moment. But yeah, I mean, there may be a dedicated cargo area that we kind of like look at. Rocket Man says you could make them deploy like Scorpius wings. True. Yeah, that is true. Okay, I'm trying to think, because if you had your bottom nacelles here to carry the weight of the ship and even a smaller landing gear in the front, I mean, I don't know. That looks like it maybe could balance. I don't know. Now I scaled up this nacelle here because I wanted to see what it would do if I did that. And my guess is nothing good. Such an odd shape. Let's go back to 1 on here. Don't worry about things getting stretched. We're going to address that here and adjust a bit. You know, let's back up a bit. Let's back up a bit here. Okay. Let's try some stuff. Let's try some stuff. First thing we're going to do, we're going to turn off our engines again in the rear section. Okay, we're going to save here real quick. Now I need to open up another model. So yeah, I thought about making them longer, but then I worry that it would get so long that it would get kind of goofy looking. But it's where my head went first. All right, let's see here. I want to see. Let's look at the Polaris engines. I'm curious about something with those. I'm curious.
So while you're doing that,
yeah,
Rabbit had a question.
Okay.
Could the Apollo engines work as rotating front VTOLs that could swing down as landing gear?
Does RSI do any VTOLs? I don't know if they do. I'm not sure if I've seen an Apollo with VTOLs.
And then Black Eagle 138 had a question. So when you kitbash the older ships with the newer ships, do you see a noticeable difference between how they make both ships?
Yes. Yeah, big time. Big time. Yeah, you could just tell, even in the hollow models, you can tell sometimes there's a big difference between like if it's a new ship or an old ship. It's kind of crazy. What I'm looking for now is rear ends, by the way, to support engines. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm sure VMXEO could even speak to this a little better than me, but yeah, absolutely. You can see where they've evolved and where they do things differently and stuff like that. Starlet, hello. I hope you're doing well. But yes, 100%. 100%. Okay, I'm just curious if I was to take the RSI's rear end, but it's got such a unique backside. Yeah, PQ, you're right. I mean, the Polaris is very, very unique looking, but just for the sake of trying it, right? Just for the sake of trying it, I'm just going to throw it back here, and we're going to see like what kind of nightmare this looks like. Again, it's just part of like the trying stuff out, right? So we're going to shrink it down a bit. Imagine if it was like back here. Again, what we're looking for is some structure. Again, this may look terrible, everyone. I don't know yet. You know what the tricky thing about the Constellation series is, and it's like this on the actual ship too, is it's got kind of a big, it's got some really weird dimensions at different angles. You know what I mean? Roy Red says need make the nacelles of Apollo bigger. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, we might need to make him bigger, and we'll circle back to that for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think the Polaris has got anything we can utilize on it. It's just too specific, which is okay. It's okay. Let's go back to our actually before we do, well, here's the thing. We'll try this one more time with the Apollo. I'll grab this, bring it over. We'll paste it in real quick here. Again, there are some issues with this. It looks fine when you're looking at it like that, but it just doesn't look balanced. And it's too thin on the backside, I think. Let me see. Or maybe it needs to be longer. Something more like, no, that's too long. More like that. I'll have to move that scanning station. But I see where this is going. It's, you know what? Yeah, I don't know. It's a little crazy. Let's turn off the rear for a second here. Let's just focus on this. Okay, so wait a minute. Let's I've got an idea here. It says I've got to widen the Constellation main hull in the back. Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, it's the tapering of the Constellation throughout is like kind of problematic. That's sort of what I was saying earlier, is that it creates some really weird shape language. It really does. But we're going to work this out. We're going to work it out. I can already tell. The funny thing, what would probably help this is the rear end to the Zeus. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go over to the Meteor real quick. Okay. Delete duplicate materials. I want to try something that I'm not sure will work, but we're going to try it. Why not? Okay, stand by, everybody. I gotta move some stuff here. So what the hell is this? This is like palm decaling. That is crazy. It is crazy sometimes seeing how CIG models some of these ships. I will not lie. Okay, we're gonna turn that off. Now this ship does have interior, I believe. Yeah, this one does have interior. There we go. Let's see. Do we get some questions here? Black Eagle says, do you think with gold standard pass that Connie still fits in the 1.0 vision of Star Citizen, or should CIG consider a more robust reconcept of this ship? I think that I still think it fits in the vision. It's just due for an update, really. It just really needs some love, to be quite honest with you. It really does. Okay, what I'm trying to do here, everyone, is God, this ship has so many instances in it. That's the problem. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get a little messy here. So we're going to find the engine. Where is the engine? There's the engine. Okay, this is the right engine. What all is on this? Okay, so that element. Okay, so we're going to XV, and then we need this piece here. What is this? Okay, that. I want all of that though. I want the whole damn thing. So we're going to XV. This is sort of what you have to deal with, by the way, when a model is in kind of this state, you know. This model wasn't meant to be Kitbash like this, so. Okay, so there are some instances there. So let's delete the instances. We're going to turn all this on. We're going to duplicate it or group it. Let's see here. X. Okay, paste that. We're going to turn off the Apollo stuff for a minute. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to scale. Art, what is your thoughts on the Akani? Are you a Akani lover?
I used to be until they nerfed its mobility a little bit.
Damn.
It was a good daily driver.
You heard it straight from Art. He hates it. He hates it.
Hate it.
He thinks it's the worst ship CIG's ever made.
No,
I'll
there
make
are
sure
much
to
other,
send,
many more other options for that.
I'll send Ben Curtis a message immediately and tell him that the Connie is not loved.
I mean, why stop there? Let's go right to Chris Roberts.
All right, let's see here. I think we're just going to have to make the back end of the Connie wider, wider, because it just doesn't work without that. And it's so funny. It's like the only engines that sort of work on it are those engines. Yeah, the Galaxy is a ship we could borrow from a little bit too. Yeah, it's so weird. That the Meteor backend is definitely not the way to go. Definitely not the way to go. Let's delete some unused materials, delete our duplicate materials. Okay, so we really narrowed it down now. Select children. Okay, here we go. So something I need to do real quick here, everybody, is simplify something. So bear with me. It's not what I wanted to do. Yes, it is actually. Okay, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. So we're going to probably have to sort of build a backend for this. We're going to have to build a backend, I think. Which is not what I wanted to get into, but I don't see any other option, to be quite honest with you. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in these pieces, just also probably a mistake, but we're going to try it 241 by 241. Okay.
So Dillman asked, do you think an updated Connie would take the Dorito pancake silhouette of the RSI's newer ship kind of design that they've been out with recently?
No, I think they'd keep it still in the Connie vibe. I think they'd lean in actually to what they were saying with the Apollo reveal, which was they sort of leaned into that older RSI design language. And I think it's been the updated Connie's been the updated Apollo has been a pretty, I would say, popular or successful ship release. So I think they would sort of do that and just lean into what they've done with the Apollo, just on a bigger scale for the Connie. That's what I think they would do. Okay, we're going to keep that for a minute. I have a lot of palm decals on here, so it's kind of going crazy, but that's all right. We'll get back to that. Okay, we're going to have to delete some stuff here, but we might use this rear end. We're too high on the vertical, though. We're going to bring that down to 1.3. Okay, I need to remove this whole section here, so we're going to get to chopping. Yeah, I don't think they would. I think here's the thing with CIG and the redos. I think by and large, they want to make sure they retain the essence of a ship. You know what I mean? If they redesigned the Connie to that level, I do think they would piss some people off. Even I've never been a big Connie fan, but I think for the people that have bought the ship, there's a balance you have to strike. You really you have to be kind of careful going through and just wholesale changing it to like a bigger Zeus. You know what I mean? To some degree, there's people. Well, not to some degree. There's been people that have already bought this ship, so there's got to be a little bit of respect given to the people that have bought it and sort of retaining, what they bought, and maybe some of the reasons they fell in love with that particular ship. So, I do think that's something CIG needs to sort of respect. So, okay. Okay, we can actually shrink this down a little bit more to 1.2, and that allows us to tuck this little bit of geometry in here. I kind of like that. That's looking pretty slick. All right, I need to figure out what piece of geometry is doing this here. Actually, you know what it is? I know exactly what it is. It's a... By the way, everyone, if it looks like I'm kind of flailing around, in some ways I am. I'm trying to figure out what parts and pieces are what. Remember, I didn't make this thing, so I didn't make this ship, so I'm trying to figure out what pieces are what, and all that kind of good stuff. So bear with me. Okay, so we're going to delete that. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm going in and deleting specific pieces of geometry. Why am I doing that? I'm doing that because there's some weird kind of texture overlaps going on that I don't like. And the problem is I've got to figure out where those texture overlaps are happening. So what I'm doing is grabbing different parts of the mesh to sort of figure out what they are. Okay. Which may not make much sense, but okay, that's what I'm looking for. Boom. Okay, that's gone. Perfect. Okay, that's what I wanted gone. What is this? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. It's pretty cool. I'm digging this so far.
So someone mentioned maybe 2 sets of Apollo nacelles and then stretch and angle them up and down to imitate the Connie nacelles. And maybe that would help with some of the shape.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. I'm still hunting for a piece of geometry that's, in my opinion, being strange. Hold on a minute, everyone. What is this piece? Okay, so it's some mesh that's freaking out. No, it's not that. Sorry, read that last statement you gave me again, Art.
So 2 sets of Apollo nacelles,
Mm-hmm.
and then stretch and angle the engines up and down more to imitate the Connie ones.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, we could try something like that. We'll have to do some sort of rotation stuff, but that's okay. That's what we'll do. All right. So the first thing we're going to do then is we're going to take our engines, which is this. How big is this nacelle though? Okay, so it's that piece. Is that one piece? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to, I got to fix these edges here, everyone. Yes, I will get back to fixing those. We're going to go down at 18 degrees, maybe. You know what? Wait a minute. That might be the wrong way to do it. That may be the wrong way to do it. What we're going to do is we're going to separate the engine from the nacelle. Okay, that's what, yes, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the engine down as before by about 22 degrees, which is a pretty big rotation. Okay, but then what we're going to do is we are going to rotate the engine counter to that rotation. So we'll rotate the engine back by 18 maybe. And we're going to recenter those. It'll require me to trim some geometry, by the way. We got some geometry acting weird. But it will create a little bit of a step down sort of thing. I don't know if that will work, but we're going to try it. So what we're going to do is we're going to, actually, I'm going to pull this out a second. We're going to scale this nacelle up a little bit. We need to make it just a tad more beefier. Okay, so I gave that a little bit of scale. That way, it doesn't feel quite as flimsy. Okay, and we're going to bring that over. We'll bulk up that rear end, don't worry. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try something. This might be a little crazy. We'll fix this on the back end, but we're going to duplicate this and we're going to create a null. Bring the null down to our duplicated engine. And we're going to scale it up on the y-axis by negative. Pull it out of the null because the null is just a scale reference, and we're going to go into global positioning and move it up to something more like that. But then we are also going to slide this one back a little bit. We're going to offset them. We're going to see what that looks like. And hey, Rage One, hope you're doing well, buddy. And we'll slide this one forward. That is kind of crazy looking back there, by the way. Kind of crazy looking. I don't know what that shape language does, though. You know what? I actually think that may have been a mistake in general because I think the counter rotated nacelle was the wrong way to go. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave this rotated down like this. Move this down. Move it over. We're going to sort of tuck that in. Then we are going to duplicate this one up. Again, we're just trying stuff, people. There's no right or wrong way to do it. We're just trying stuff out. That's all we can do at this stage. We're experimenting wildly. We're going to bring in another null here so I can do a scale reference on that and just do a negative and pull it back down. Just a little trick I do sometimes to keep the scale intact. That actually looks kind of interesting. It's different. It's very different. Very different than anything I've seen Connie-wise, but there is something interesting there.
A couple people mentioned maybe making the nacelles a little longer lengthwise, make them a little bigger,
longer, yeah,
a little beefier.
Yep, that's not a bad. That's not a bad thought there. So let's do that. Let's go with 1.2. Nope, wrong scale. 1.3, something like that. And we could probably do the same thing on this one. 1.3. So that is a longer piece. I still feel like sliding the bottom ones up is the way to go, though, for landing. This ship is definitely going to need some sort of front landing gear, though. Rabbit just tried to kill the buzz in the room by saying, "How does it land, though?" Damn it, Rabbit! Don't.
It's always Rabbit's fault.
Don't make sense right now. Okay, do not make any sense, please.
It doesn't land, it crashes.
Here's the thing. Other RSI ships have landing gear, have front nose landing gear. So it could still have a front nose landing gear technically. We could also shift this up. We could shift this up quite a bit. There's nothing saying we can't do that. As a matter of fact, let's try some shit out. We'll need some structure under there to support things a little better. I don't know. That kind of does look cool. Just a weird way. Here's what we're gonna do.
Dang it, Rabbit!
What did Rabbit just say? Get ready to ban him. He's obviously bringing too many ideas to the table. Execute says
ideas
it crash
are just
lands.
too much.
Yeah, execute says it crash land. It could crash.
That's the best type of landing.
It could crash land. Look, I didn't say. I never promised this thing was like landable. Okay, you guys made that up. Okay, you guys just did your own thing and made that up. I kind of do dig that, to be honest with you. Although I would say these like side antennas on the forward ones are a little crazy. So we're just going to shut them off for the moment. Or we're going to see what that looks like. I don't know. It may not work. By the way, CIG, I don't know if they do kit bashing per se. I think they may, but I guarantee you they do exercises like this to sort of figure out a ship before, like when it's in concept phase and they're just like messing with it. I still see an issue that we got to address that's pretty major, but we'll get to that in just a second. Real quick here. Okay. Rabbit's still waiting on those Bengal engines. I don't know, Rabbit. You might be waiting a while. I'm not sure if we should bring the Bengal engines over to this monster. This thing's already crazy enough looking. Vinificus, God, I hope I said that right, over on YouTube says, this is it. I really like where it's going. Yeah, we're going somewhere with it. Quinn says, Paul Jones is a big fan of kit bashing. I believe he was, yeah. You know, for those of you that don't remember or haven't been a fan of STARJUMP since the beginning, very early on when we were doing STARJUMP Shipyard, we actually had Paul Jones on an episode and interviewed him. I really like Paul. He was super awesome. I think he's an incredible concept designer. He's just a really friendly guy. I know he went to, I believe, Ubisoft. And I'm not totally sure if it worked out or not, but I do sincerely hope Paul is doing well. I really need to catch up with him, but yeah. Kyle Smith says, add the front VTOL wings from the Connie back to the mid front for balance. Yep, I'm thinking about doing that, Kyle. Guardian says, is this all doable with StarFab? I need to get to know StarFab and Blender. So I'm using Cinema 4D right now, Guardian, but I do want to have VMXEO back on an episode to be interviewed at some point. I would love, by the way, VM, if you're watching, I would love for Ventivar and James and the whole team to be on, but I would love to point the spotlight back at those StarFab guys, give them a little bit of that moment in the sun they really deserve because they do amazing work, and sort of interview them and ask them, you know, all kinds of great questions. I don't know if VM would be willing to do that, but sort of a StarFab interview episode. So we'll see if we can convince the StarFab guys to come on and do something like that. I've had a lot of people ask me about StarFab, and it might be cool to get a little bit of an update from VM. There is a Star Citizen modding Discord that some people are in. I am in it as well. But over there is where a lot of people work on different projects, StarFab being one of those. And I think VM would be the first to say that there's a lot of people in there that have helped update and get StarFab up to par after the 4.0 code base update. I know he would want me to say that there's been a lot of people that have really helped out. So, okay, so let's go here. Let's keep moving forward. I think we're on to something here. I do think we're on to something. The back end is crazy. I need to do some serious work to this thing. So what we're going to do, let's just turn off all the engines for a minute. Okay, we're going to turn off the engines for a second. we need to fix this taper here. And yes, get ready for all of you modelers out there that love to do shit the right way. You're gonna cry yourselves to sleep tonight because of what I'm about to do. I'm just grabbing points and manually moving shit, and that is not how you do things, but that's how we're gonna do them. Okay. And I'll explain why in a minute. 58.3 on the movement scale there. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not even going to be exact. Again, we're kit bashing here, people. We're having fun. 50 yes, yeah, sure, whatever. If VMXEO was watching that, he probably cried a little bit. I'm just going to say. Let's pull our engines back on. So what I need to do is we need to blend this side here. And so that's what we're going to do. And for that, we're going to once again go back to our, we're going to go back to our Apollo, and I want to reborrow these pieces here, the left and right side pieces. We're going to get a little crazy here, people. We're going to get a little wild, a little stupid. We're going to get a little stupid with shit. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Sure, I'll take that. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we are... Oh, link to the Star System modding Discord. Yeah, I'll have to get that. I'll have to get that for you. I assume anyone's allowed to join it. I know I've recommended people there before. All right, what we're going to do is we are going to okay, I think. All right, I think this is what I wanted to do. We're just gonna go wholesale and go for this right here. This is some crazy shit, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it because it's getting late and we're gonna make some progress here. Okay, we're intersecting our beautiful window. We don't necessarily want to do that, but we're gonna do it for the moment. We'll have to put some new windows in there for the Phoenix. Actually, you know what? There's a way to do that. We're gonna I like that emote. What emote is that?
I made it because I just made some changes to it.
You did good work.
Just put glasses on you.
Yeah, you did good work.
I do what I can.
Okay, we're going to. Okay, we're going to kind of build this section out here a little bit. I want to get rid of these damn. Bear with me, everyone. I need to kill some geometry here. Time to kill some geometry. It's pissed me off long enough. I've got to kill it. Where is it? Nope. It's got to be this one. Yep, that's one of them. And then this one. Yep. Okay. Oops. Nope. Select polygon. Okay. I just had to delete the palm decals here. I just want this to be more of a solid white kind of vibe. Okay, so again, when looking at the overall thing, we're going to beef up that insert. We may have to add some windows here, but we can do that. Don't worry. We lost some of our windows. Yeah, by the way, everyone, I am trying to earn myself up to 50 referrals because I do want to get the Misk Raptor Street Sweeper. Because if I get it, then that means we can get it into STARJUMP Fleet Viewer, damn it. So if you know anyone who wants to play the game, shoot them my referral link. I appreciate it. You don't have to. If you have your own referral link and you want them to use yours, please do. That goes without saying. But if you just don't give a damn about the referral program and you want to throw a referral contact my way, it would be appreciated. All right, everybody, we are cruising here. Oh, we just got some, we just got something. We just had, we hit the sub goal. So that's pretty big. Someone just gifted 5 tiers, 90s, just gave out 5 community subs, 90s. Salute to you, my friend, right there, giving you the quadruple salute. I appreciate that. 90s looking out, throwing some subscriptions everyone's way. I see the javelin going past behind me. It's through support like that, everyone, that is what keeps all this going. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. I really appreciate it. By the way, for those wondering how many referrals I have, for some reason, I never get referrals. I literally just got the army armor, which is the reward you get for 1 referral. I just got that today, which is kind of funny. But yes, thank you very much for that 90s. That did allow us to hit our sub goal of 10. So we just completed that. So thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Good looking out, good supporting the channel. I really, really do appreciate it, everybody. 90s, you are a legend. All right, everyone, we're starting to get somewhere. The ship has kind of a nice silhouette here. Rear end's a bit of a mess, but we're going to deal with that if we have a hole in the side of it. So why do we have a hole in the side of it? That's not good. Why? Why is this? We have a problem here, people. We have a problem. Why do we have a problem?
It's to let the air in.
Ah, yes, it is. Okay, so here we go. It's this piece here, which is... Okay, so here's what we got to do. So, because this is a kind of a mess. Okay, we got to kill this, and we got to kill this down here. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this. Actually, no, we're going to take this, which is everything we need, right? Let's see. Yes. Okay. So we're going to take this. We're going to grab ourselves a null. Drop this in the null and reverse it on the x-axis by 1. Okay. It's got kind of an interesting look, though, don't it? It looks like a Connie from a distance. It's got that vibe. Let's render it out real quick here. I think we need to add some paint to it though too. We're not finished yet, everybody, but we're getting to what let's call this our blockout phase. We're getting to the blockout phase being done. Then we'll have to do another episode where we do some like custom modeling to make it all pretty. Echo Bravo says, can we do a top mounted or rear mounted bay for the snub ship to allow variety to be used similar to the TAC? So that gets into the argument of like, should this thing have a snub bay? Should the revamped Connie have a snub bay? Probably should, to be totally honest with you. But we may need to look at where that goes. I have an idea though. I have an idea for that. I don't know. I'm kind of digging where this is going. What do you all think? What is chat? Can we get a poll going? Art, can we do a poll? It has 2 options. One of those being good progress, bad progress. How are we looking? Let's get a temperature check here from our amazing Twitch and our amazing YouTube community. If you don't mind, sir. Thank you very much. We'll render it up here.
On it, boss.
Yeah. And by the way, there's some problems with this because we've done some stretching and squeezing of parts and pieces, everybody. There are parts, like if you look at the engine here, these circular areas here, these are now ovals because they're stretched. We'll have to go back and fix that. So yeah. Black Eagle 138 says, I'd rather have an XL hanger that is sized to fit a Merlin. So a hanger versus the docking clamp. Yeah, I mean, the docking clamp is cool. I will say the hanger, I think, is a lot more utilitarian and allows you to get a little bit more creative with what you land in, how you land, all that kind of stuff. So, you know.
Poll is up and running.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone. There is a poll. Let's take a temperature check of what you think of this thing so far. By the way, a hype train just started in the channel. Vinificus said, good. Someone call CIG. I want to pledge this thing. I appreciate that very much. Again, we're just chopping and gluing right now. I don't feel like we've hit the sweet spot quite yet, but I do think we're making some progress. It's got about a 50-50 blend of Apollo and Connie parts and pieces. From a scale standpoint, what I can do is let's just grab another constellation so we can kind of see the size difference here. Okay, so we can kind of look at the size difference. So let me close the Polaris because it's kind of a heavy model. I'm just going to grab this constellation, Aquila. Hopefully I said that right. Don't want to offend my Connie folks here. And we'll just paste it next to this thing so you can get a sense of what we're looking at in terms of scale. So you can see this has grown substantially. Again, we're at about 86 meters long now. Okay, I'll grab an Apollo so you can kind of see where the Apollo sits in terms of scale. There you go. You can kind of see where maybe a revamped constellation would sit in terms of scale. It's obviously grown, substantially. The whole idea, I think, behind this would be giving a lot more room inside. By the way, hype train complete at level 2, 78%. It's very nice. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, 90s, for those 5 gifted subs. So again, this would obviously be a pretty substantial redo of the Constellation. And again, we're not finished. We're just talking broadly here for a second. But that type of scale up is not completely out of line for previous ships. If you go back and look at the original Cutlass Black before they redid it, I forget how big it was, but it was quite a bit smaller. I think it was like 30% smaller than the Cutty Black we have now, just to give you an idea. So a ship growing by 20-25% when it's redone is not like completely out of the question. You know what I mean? It's not completely out of the question. Ultranaut said, but it's not bad. I think you nailed the new midsection. Yeah, I think for just sort of throwing things in here at this stage, which is what we've done, to be fair, just throwing stuff in here, I feel like we've got something good with the midsection here. So I'm digging that. And again, we did lose some things, like we cut off our windows down here, but we can always add those back. This thing could have windows alongside here, all that kind of good stuff. So obviously we gotta look at things like weaponry and stuff like that. I do have 2 weird little pieces of geometry back here that we need to deal with. So we're gonna deal with those now. But I need to first hide some stuff. Just a minute. Okay. But let's ask our trusty producer what they're vibing. Does this make you like, if the Connie was reconcept, let's actually, Art, let's say this. If the Connie was reconcepted, what would have to be reconcepted about it for you to dig it? Maybe it's not scale at all, but
Right. I think it just needs some more. I think part of it has to do with just more versatility. I feel like kind of right where it's at. It's kind of just a jack of some trades, master of really nothing. Yeah. It had decent firepower for a minute, so it was kind of like that was the go-to it was using for those size 5s, but I think the maneuverability has kind of nuked that a bit. So I think they need to kind of steer it where it needs to go a little bit better, maybe work on some design language for sure, and make it a little bit more streamlined, because it's a pain to get in and out of sometimes.
Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that. I mean, yeah. All right, let's see here, everybody. We are doing something a little crazy now. Bear with me. This will make sense in just a second. We're just adding some structure back here for the moment to give this back section here a little bit more, a little bit more heft. Is that what I wanted to do? No, that's not. We're doing some crazy overlapping geometry here, which is, I know, super messy, everybody, but entertain me for a minute here. Entertain me. Again, right now, what we're mainly doing. Yeah, go ahead.
Dillman's got a question. Would you entertain a galaxy hanger in the back of this thing?
Will we entertain a galaxy hanger? So I think it's something we should definitely think about, only because it's one of the coolest parts of the galaxy, and I think it's one of the things that really sets the galaxy off as being unique. And I would love to see something like that come over to a ship like this, especially in this size range. I would say that the only possible issue with it is that the Galaxy has kind of a fat rear end. Not to shame it in any way, but let me open that real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Renders RSI Galaxy V1. All right, let's open up. Let's see. Okay. So one issue with the Galaxy's rear end is, if you do look, the back door to this thing is huge. It is a massive part of the ship, and even in our upscaled state of this new Constellation, you'll see that it's oops, let me turn off cameras. Let me rotate it. You'll see that it would still, even just to fit a C8, a C8X, you would see how big that rear end technically has to be. It's still substantially larger than our Connie back end, so it would require a very massive redesign. It's actually one of the interesting things about the Galaxy is that everyone loves that rear end to it that you can put this C8 series in. The only problem with that is that super large opening back door is sort of what defines the shape of the Galaxy. Believe it or not, it is a Dorito shape, but technically, if you remove the cladding, so if you see these little wings, they're actually hollow. You can kind of see through them here. What you're actually seeing is the Galaxy is really just a big box back here with a bunch of sort of Dorito diamond shaped kind of parts and pieces that help create that shape, that greebling. But if you strip all that away, the Galaxy really is a flying box, which honestly makes a lot of sense if you think about it in terms of a modular ship, right? So that could be one thing that makes it very difficult to do any sort of hanger in the back of this Connie Mark II or whatever you want to call it, is that it just would have to be super, super large. Alternaut says, I wouldn't increase the size of your updated Connie. It's just not the same type of ship as a Galaxy. Yeah, I think we're kind of at the maximum now, because if you look, so the Galaxy is 100, and actually let's just, you know what, let's do it the right way. Let's go into our measurements here. Let me turn off cameras. Okay. Let's do a measuring stick here. Here's our measuring stick. Let's switch ourselves back to meters because we're on centimeters. And let's scale up our measuring stick. Not that size is everything, but it does matter for some things, because that sort of determines the synergy for what ships can fit into it. And I'll explain more in here in just a second. Okay, so this is rough. So this is showing the Galaxy at around 114 meters, at least in its current hollow model form. I thought the Galaxy was like supposed to be 124 meters, so maybe I was wrong, but it's showing 114, 115 meters ish, right? Actually, you know what? I can look this up. What are you talking about? I got this software called a StarFab. Okay, the Galaxy is listed at 110 meters. Actually, I'm showing it 114 meters from the hollow model. With our Connie update at around, let's say, Connie update somewhere in the neighborhood of 98 meters long now. So actually went a little longer than what we said we were going to do because, right, because we ended up stretching some of those engine intakes. Now we could push those engines forward and would probably get us down to our 86 meter length. We'll leave it for now. Right, so right now, essentially, it's on par with what we were originally talking about, which was a sort of a Star Lancer. So, right, so let's actually take a look at that. Let's go. Actually, do I have a Star Lancer? That's a really good question. Stand by, everybody. Sorry. Again, I'm just thinking of it in terms of like class of ship, right? So let's grab our Star Lancer Max here, just throw it in the same world here, get a sense of scale. The Star Lancer series is currently like 83 meters, so we're pretty big on that now. We're more like 600i size, right? Guardian, take it easy, buddy. Thanks for hanging out a little bit today. Everyone, make sure you go check out Guardian's channel on YouTube. He does absolutely amazing content. If you haven't been watching his content, make sure you go do that. He does great stuff. So, but yeah, so we're running pretty big now on this ship. I mean, this is this is a sizable ship. We could artificially scale it down, and I still think pretty good because we've added this side more to the width of the fuselage. We can actually scale it down now to compensate for the growth of the ship. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to move this. We're going to move the Galaxy. Let's bring this down to what we originally said we wanted to do, which was 86 meters long, right? We're going to do that. So 86 meters long. We're going to grab all the pieces of our Connie experiment. Let me drag our yardstick over. There's our yardstick. And we're going to scale it down just a tad. Okay. Let's see here. So it don't have to be perfect. We could just sort of eyeball it here. I think that's pretty good. So it's about 113.5 on the scale. Just plug that in across the board, delete our yardsticks because we don't need those anymore. Swing back over. So, okay, so we've scaled this down now to an appropriate size. So this would be about an 86 meter long ship, right? See, Star Lancer is a similar type of ship, but its body style is very 50s military or 50s RV. So yeah, so I feel like we're on the right path with this thing. It's still got a landing issue, but ultimately, I honestly think there's no reason why this thing can't have a landing gear up front. Yeah, I think that would make perfect sense. Let's look at a few other things real quick here. I wanted to see if I almost wonder if it just needs a entryway up here. Right. And then this middle section we could fill in for, yeah, we'll have to think about that. So Feathers, take it easy, buddy. Appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us tonight. So everyone, what we've done here is we've gotten a pretty good start, in my opinion. Okay, we've gotten a pretty good start. We've got a pretty good idea of where our Connie rework is going to head. We've got a little bit of a shape language going on. It's got definitely DNA from the Apollo in it. I think that That sort of goes without saying, right? DNA from the Apollo, DNA from the Connie Phoenix. I think that there's room in there to go to the next step now, which would be we'll do another stream where we focus on a couple things. We're going to do some custom modeling to sort of blend some of these areas that we just sort of kit bash together and just slam together. We're going to do some texturing, right? We're going to give it this coat of paint because it's currently in sort of the Connie Phoenix white, Apollo Medevac white right now. But I think we can dress it up a little bit, do some decals, all that kind of good stuff. We may be able, we'll probably do some stuff like bring in some of the interior spaces and make that glass not black, but like actually transparent so you can see some depth and stuff in the ship. But I do think we're on the right path. I think it's a good start. Yep, well, Alternaut took it right out of my mouth. I think it's a good start. I think it's interesting. I think the shape language is working nice. Again, if you took a step back, like if you were flying and you saw this thing out in the verse, you would probably do a double take, yes, but I think you would think Connie. You would think Connie, like it's the first thing that would pop in your head. So again, I think at the very least, I think we're on the right path. I think we're on the right path. Let's look at it from the profile view and you can see what I'm talking about here. It still has a bit of that Connie vibe to it. So we haven't totally left that. There's a lot of that DNA there. Still a lot of that DNA there. It would just be bringing some things up to bear. Some things up to kind of be more in line with some of the modern approaches to not only ship scale for their respective roles, but also bringing in some of the updated RSI design language. I would like to get some of the other RSI ship elements from maybe the Scorpius, maybe a little bit of the Mantis and Meteor kind of in here. I see some more opportunities to do that. That could be really cool. But personally, I kind of like where we're headed. So fingers on the Perseus. You know what the tricky thing is I don't have a good model of the Perseus. I really don't, unfortunately. It's one thing I hate, but I don't have a great model of it. And it's one reason I'm really excited for the ship to come out at IAE so that I can, get a better model of it to play around with. So, everyone, it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed this. We are going to do a part 2. We'll do a part 2 of this next week and we'll finish this out. It's a lot to do all in one night. But I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, more information will come on whatever we do for the STARJUMP CitizenCon celebration. I'll get you guys some information about that, but I am planning on having giveaways, some pretty cool giveaways. I'm sure CIG will provide some giveaways, so we're still planning on that. We might do it in conjunction with some other people. I'm going to have some conversations with the info runners and maybe some other people, but we want to do something fun to celebrate CitizenCon. It's just a little weird because it's a 2-hour thing this year. But stay tuned for part 2. I will definitely do part 2 to this next week, probably early next week. So we have our Tuesday Shipyard show. We'll probably finish this on the Tuesday Shipyard show. Okay. So stay tuned for that. And then obviously there'll be the VODs if you can't watch it at its normal time. I don't know if it'll be Tuesday during the day or if we do a Tuesday nighttime Shipyard stream, but I'll try to do it for Tuesday next week because I think it'll be good to get back to this sooner rather than later. Okay. I'll try to get that up on the YouTube schedule by tomorrow. Okay. All right, everyone. I'm going to send you over to our very good friend, the Astropub, Paul Shelley. The astro historian himself. Give a show a watch. Please give him some STARJUMP love. Appreciate the subscribes. Appreciate the follows tonight. You're all amazing. Going to send you over there now. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you real soon. Also want to say big thank you to Artorius, my producer now, my producer moderator, keeping things on lockdown. Has been doing an absolutely incredible job. Art, thank you very much, buddy. Everyone, have a great night. Sending you over to the Astropub. Have a good one.